Crazy exes of Reddit. What is your side of the story? He told all of his family and friends that I asked for a divorce because he was deploying to Afghanistan and that I was a crazy controlling bee. The real reason we were divorcing was because he was texting girls he met online and telling them he loved them and wanted to be with them. I also found his online dating site on my laptop, and when I confronted him about it, he said his friends made the profile as a joke. The profile used the same username and password that he used for everything. The final straw was when I came home from a trip back home to see my family and walked into our bedroom to find another girl's clothes. I asked whose they were and why they were there, and he said he had gone to the bar with some people from his troop and she was too drunk and had to spend the night. He apparently slept on the couch. I asked what she left the apartment wearing and he gave her my favorite pair of sweatpants to wear home. I never got those back either. My roommate had a crazy ex who would call him 20 times and leave 5 voicemails a day. This had been going on for about a week or so, and I asked him if he had ever listened to the voicemails or called her back, and he said frick no, she is just being crazy as crap. The following week I talked to her roommate and asked why she was calling him so much. It was because he had taken her virginity and she wanted it back. Well, besides that, the actual reason was that the night they broke up he apparently went to her house, took a bat, and smashed all her windows and slashed all her tires. Never knew my roommate was broken up so hard by it, nor had the anger to go and actually act on. I read a post on another forum by a woman who had been in an abusive relationship. Typically, the abuser was charming and plausible to other people and soon had their circle of friends and family believing that she was some sort of nutcase and that he was a strong, tolerant, capable man who had to cope with her. She once overheard one of their friends say patience of a son. That man. Ouch. For some reason that little detail really made me wince. I don't know if this qualifies as crazy, but I reported my ex's video to YouTube from like 40 different accounts to get it taken down. Why, you ask? Because I was like 16 and he had been videotaping our foreplay and who knows what else on his MacBook without my knowledge, and then compiled it into a 5-minute long softcore P video where he asked me to prom at the end. He then posted it on Facebook and his crappy YouTube account for everyone to see. All clothes were on during it, but it was still pretty raunchy, and I got ripped on pretty hard for it that summer at my job. I pretended to laugh it off, but every night I was going home and making a new YouTube account to report the video on until it got taken down, because he refused to delete it. I don't know if this qualifies as crazy. Nah, leaving 40 voicemails on his machine might have been a bit crazy. Leaving 40 takedown requests on a video of your makeouts is pretty reasonable. We're definitely each other's crazy exes. We just were very passionate people who fell for each other hard, and everything we did was intense. The sex, the arguments, the cold shouldering, etc. Eventually distance became a factor and cheating accusations ran rampant, and we basically made each other crazy until we broke up months later. Sounds like the best and worst time of your life. Bet I sounded like a crazy ex when I warned his next girlfriend what an abusive butthole he was, but it sure as heck felt good when I found out she dumped him a year or so later for just that reason. That's a public service. Same as phoning the fire department when you see a grass fire smoldering. You were calling the abusive ex hotline. No shame in that. Not me, but a client. I know her ex's friends call her the crazy ex. As a couple, they were together almost 30 years. Very conservative, religious, and he had a great banking job and she was a stay-at-home mom who volunteered for the church. Nice house, great kids, decent American cars, just really great on the surface. After 28 years, all the kids are grown. She got a job at a little boutique designing, what's it called? The sports leisure clothing that's suddenly so popular, yoga pants and whatnot. Anyway, she gets a job. It barely pays anything, but then she files for divorce. It turns out that all this time, her husband has been a miser. That might not seem so bad on the surface, but he was a horrible miser. Washing the aluminum foil to reuse it. Edit to add, they washed the foil many times over before they'd throw it away or recycle it. A little bit of recycling is fine. Reusing it till it's falling apart is not reasonable. Didn't go to the doctor. Wouldn't get braces for the kids because it was too expensive. No vacations, no pets, no luxuries of any kind. The reason she knows how to design is because she had to sew everything in their house. The reason she got into running was because it was the only activity she could do that was free. Now, they have the nice house and the decent cars, not 1 cent of debt, and tons of savings and retirement accounts. The guy's been socking away money for years and telling his wife that she's nothing but a bloody drain on his resources. No way will he pay for the kids' college funds. The minute she files for divorce, everyone turns on her. You're not supposed to get divorced in their religion. And how crazy is she? She's got a husband with a good job and a nice house and she's leaving all that? What? Furthermore, in this state, for a marriage of long duration, it's assumed that the assets will be split 50/50. The courts believe that a non-working spouse's donations to the marital estate are as good as an employed spouse's donations to the estate. So client gets half the savings, half the value of the nice house, half the retirement account, and she gets a little alimony for a few years. First thing she does is go out and rescue a mutt. Every time I see her, she looks happier and happier. She's going to be okay. Her clothing line is starting to take off. But, last time I saw her, she said she ran into one of her ex's friends, and he started shouting at her that she ruined her ex. She's a freaking bee. She should die and go to heck, etc. His wife is pulling him away and saying, "Honey, don't, the crazy bee isn't worth it." So yeah, I've seen the other side of the story. I'm with her. I want to be friends with her. I was toted as a crazy ex once. He said I was too attached, whiny, all of that crap. I've never been that way really, but he would be really distant with me and then get drunk or something and cry and tell me how much he loved me. So I was constantly getting sent mixed signals and it was honestly driving me crazy. He would also hang out with his really attractive ex a lot, who dumped him, who, as far as I know, he never really got over. But I was fine with it because if he was super vulnerable, it would be all "I love you, you mean so much to me." Also the dude who took my virginity, so that was super weird. He just generally brought out a lot insecurity in me that manifested in some crappy and pathetic ways. It turns out he was cheating on me with his ex, random girls, and one of my best friends. So yeah, I was whiny, needy, had frequent emotional outbursts. Even after finding out a lot of that crap, I still begged him to take me back for like a week. Luckily, this experience taught me a lot about self-respect. I am now pretty skeptical when guys say they have a crazy ex unless she's really done something crazy. Some people can really be awful, but I also see many cases of people really being driven crazy temporarily by getting manipulated. I have a friend right now who is in a spot like that and even calls herself crazy, but her guy is sleeping with half the block and then tells her he loves her. It makes a person weird. She cheated on me several times, at least 3 different guys that I know about, anyway, and I made the colossal mistake of forgiving her each time. I had self-confidence issues and figured that, if I let her go, I was letting go of the last pretty girl who'd ever want me. Instead, I turned into the crazy, controlling boyfriend that every girl seems to encounter at one point or another. I wanted to know where she was, who she was with, etc. At all times. Was she drinking? How old were the people she was with? Just all kinds of crazy, manipulative crap. I finally broke up with her, as even through all of this, she absolutely wouldn't break up with me, because more manipulative crap. As long as she was home, I was an absolute angel to her. I wasn't even aware that I was doing that one. It took me about 3 months after the breakup to come to terms with the fact that I was a huge douchebag to her. I was that guy that she will probably tell everyone who will listen about because he was insane. I ended up in a new relationship 3 years later, and it was great. Lasted 2.5 years and we broke up amiably due to life stuff we couldn't really control. But I am happy to say I've never been that guy again. TLDR. Be self-aware and don't forgive cheaters. I was a drunk. Most of my exes broke up with me when they realized any relationship was a 3-way between me, them and alcohol. I used to do some crazy crap after the breakup too. Get blackout drunk and call them blubbering, making no sense. Yeah, I got addicted to H. It ruined my life and I'm glad you left me when you did. I've since recovered and I hope you're well too. This is like my ex. He was trying to get clean off H, but after a month of being clean started using again. I only knew that he was using once a week, but it was still too difficult to deal with, not knowing if he was going to go to jail or not. It was too much for me to handle and it was really hard for me to end it. But I'm glad you've recovered. I was madly in love with my girlfriend, and she was with me, but sometimes love isn't enough and we drove each other completely nuts. Eventually I got severely depressed because I loved her and didn't want to leave her, but our relationship was so toxic I became heavily dependent on drugs and ended up blacking out behind the wheel of her car and crashed into a tree. I broke my leg, got a DUI, and because of this incident our relationship officially ended. When I look back I think the accident was meant to be. We refused to break up and we needed a little push. The way things were going it could have ended a lot worse. This one resonates with me. Fricked up being in a situation where you love the person and don't want to leave, but also knowing that leaving would be the best thing you could do for her and yourself. I was 14 and he was 20. He took my virginity. We dated for 2 years. He was super controlling and I just wanted to do kid stuff and date other kids. When I finally dumped him, he threatened to send my nudes to my parents and my boss. But yeah, he told our hometown I was some crazy stalker B and they believed him. I was 14. You should let him send those pics. He would have gone to prison for child P and we all would have laughed at what a backfire that threat was. He cheated on me for the entire 2 years of our relationship. We used his computer for a TV. He left it open after he left for work, and she started sending him nudes while I was having coffee and watching something while eating breakfast. When I confronted him, he blamed me for snooping on his Facebook and said he'd known her longer. He then lied to all his friends, said I was crazy, controlling, and never wanted to have sex with him. All of these things were opposite to the truth. Over the course of our relationship, he went on vacation, edit, without me. I was actually uninvited on the first year, after him initially telling me it was our trip to celebrate, on both of our anniversaries. Wanted me to quit my university program despite getting honors level marks, and he had performance issues related to performance anxiety. We had sex as much as he was able. I haven't spoken to him, or his friends, since the day we broke up. I haven't thought about it in ages, but I'm sure his social circle still believes whatever he told them about me. I couldn't care less. I haven't thought about it in ages, but I'm sure his social circle still believes whatever he told them about me. I couldn't care less. I think about that sometimes in relation to my ex. Like, I don't really care what they think, but I'm a naturally curious person. I found the wife of the husband who she was cheating on me with, and I let her know that he was sleeping around on her. I provided explicit details and screenshots. She said I ruined a marriage. I said she did because she was too much of a coward to do what was right. Also she had syphilis. Yeah, they ruined the marriage by cheating. Had they not been cheating, there wouldn't have been anything for you to report. So, that one squarely on them. That I was an immature butthole and pretty much everything she says about me is 100% accurate and I regret it every time I think about it. 1. He really did cheat on me. I wasn't delusional or projecting, no matter how much he claimed that I was. 2. I did not cheat on him, and then rub it in his face. He found out, somehow, that 4 months after I dumped him I had slept with a mutual friend. This led to a suicide attempt, complete with letters citing my infidelity as his reason. 3. I never once logged into his bank account. I don't know why anyone believes I stole money from him, seeing as he never had a job and therefore no money either. 4. Yes, I did threaten to call the cops on him. No, I wasn't planning on faking that he hit me. He was threatening to kill himself. There are a lot of people I don't really speak to anymore, because I chose to be private and he chose to make a lot of crap up. It's okay though, I didn't suffer any great losses. I love the bit where people get super P and act like you cheated on them when you actually just hooked up with someone else after you broke up with them. If it was, like, hours later I could see feeling annoyed about it, but you still don't get to make an infidelity case about it. Your history, buddy. I can frick whoever I want to now and it's none of your business. I kept his kitten and refused to give her back to him when he broke up with me. She had been exclusively living in my house for close to 6 months because his place wasn't pet friendly. I had been paying for all her supplies, scheduling all her vet appointments, and taking care of her every day. She had formed bonds with both my cat and dog. She was in a loving, stable environment where she would have companions when someone wasn't home. He worked 9-10 hours a day on top of classes, would have had her alone in his bedroom all day, and barely took charge of making sure she was taken care of. When he broke up with me, made me drive 45 minutes to him to break up with me. Are you serious? I kept her because his place wasn't pet friendly. She had been scheduled for her spay and I went ahead and went through with it because she was a year old and still not fixed. When he didn't check on her at all despite knowing she had surgery, that's when I decided I was going to keep her. I had put too much time, energy, and love into her to just hand her off to someone who cared more about the novelty of having a pet rather than properly caring for her. We had a very heated conversation in which he threatened to call the cops for violating a verbal contract. I told him to go ahead. All the vet's bills are in my name, as is the pet registration. He probably labeled me as the crazy ex who stole his cat, but I don't care. She is in a stable environment in a home where I know she is getting the love and care she deserves. Plus, I just adore the little heathen. Probably my first girlfriend. We were in college, and for most things were each other's firsts. First kiss, for her. First people we ever had sex with. Over time, though, she was clearly unhappy with the relationship, and going into our senior year we agreed to take a little break for the summer while she was at an internship in Orlando. Well, when she was down there she fell in love with another guy and we broke up. For a while before this we would have fights and in general I acted like a dong, though to be fair she definitely had her moments where she was mean and rude to me as well. But after we broke up I really did become a freaking mess. Constantly texting her and we'd fight about how I was betrayed and all this crap. And that all led to the point where she blocked me on Facebook and didn't want anything more to do with me. It didn't help, though, that she was also telling me how much she loved her new boyfriend, how the sex was so much more intimate and better, etc etc. Eventually, later on though I texted her to apologize to her for my behavior, that I was sorry I was such a crazy and psychotic bastard, and she apologized for the way she handled things too. We still don't talk, though, partly because even later on I made a joke about how I was better off than I was 4 years ago when Obama was re-elected, with the implication being that I wasn't with her anymore. I'm not proud of myself for everything that happened, but if I had a chance to go back to the party I first met her at and instead of trying to land the bottle of spin the bottle on her and instead just avoid her, I wouldn't do it. Lots of painful lessons there, but there was some good that came out of it. I learned a lot about what you shouldn't do in a relationship, and have had a few more girlfriends since then. My last ex I actually have a much better relationship with, to the point where she calls me her good ex because I'm not a freaking psycho trying everything to crawl back into every facet of her life. I keyed the crap out of her car. I only did it because her friend, who turned out not to be her friend after all, told me my ex was planning on doing it to my car, but I later found out that was a lie. I felt like crap and told my ex. She then proceeded to burn my car. Sounds like the next country hit song. Okay, so I may have sent his new girlfriend, the one he cheated on me, and left me for, some screenshots of cringy messages where he sent unsolicited dong pics and begged for me back. While he was dating her, my friends verified that it was equal parts funny and justified, but pretty sure there's plenty of ways to spin that into unnecessary evil, and Jesus Christ woman, just let it go. He was horrible though, and so was she. The days before Snapchat. Basically, I found out my partner is into bestiality and is a serial animal abuser, so I dumped him. He concocted a crazy ex story about me to cover up the real reasons behind our breakup. P.S. He's married to a veterinarian now, apparently. That is gross to say the least. Was absolutely devastated. Tried to kill myself. Lost 35 pounds in 2 weeks. Got hospitalized. Begged and begged her to come back. Got put on a whole bunch of meds. Started going to AA meetings. Realized I'm better off without her. Now she's upset because I've moved on. I was the crazy one. I said some regrettable things about how classless it was to come to the place we both worked while I was there. Right after we broke up, my temper was out of control. But it was all my fault anyway. In the 3 years we dated, she was a beautiful flower, and I was an idiot child trampling all over it. I never did anything directly abusive, but I was nuts and just ran in circles around her. She saw a person in me that I couldn't be. Saw the light after this. Got my diagnosis, bipolar, social anxiety, etc. and treatment, and I'm a wholly different person. We've made peace. Life goes on. Glad you're doing well, man. A guy I was dating just stopped texting me or calling me back out of nowhere. He lived in another state, so we hadn't seen each other in a while. He finally sent me one sentence that it was over and he was seeing someone else. I went a little nuts every time I drank and would text him. I know he was telling all our friends I was crazy, but looking back I think I was justified in wanting more information or some closure. I never understood the just stop texting calling with no explanation thing. You know, if you answered the question maybe the person would stop, or maybe there was some kind of misunderstanding. I was admittedly a bit crazy and not always a great boyfriend. I was jealous and insecure due to not properly dealing with some personal issues that arose during our relationship. I proposed to her and she said yes, but we were both young, stupid, and I didn't have my crap together as well as she did. It eventually fell apart in spectacular fashion and I fell apart personally too for a while. After the breakup I got some help with my issues, got healthy and confident, dropped the whole jealous all the time thing, and had some very successful and fulfilling relationships after that. I've been with someone for 4 years now. We just got married last year. As far as I know, my ex got married to someone else, has some kids, and is doing well herself. So it's all good. Oh boy, I'm crazy because when he broke up with me, he told me I like her now too, but I can keep dating you if you want, and I just couldn't handle that. That started a whirlwind of me crying and leaving rooms if I saw them together, freaking out on other people, on him, etc. And he was in general frick this be behind my back and to my face about it all. Essentially, we tried to maintain a friendship but I was overly sensitive, and he was his typical self and slightly more cruel so as to create more distance between us. I grew up in a strict household and clung to every single relationship that I could possibly maintain. As much as you can maintain a friendship when you can only hang out with them outside of school once a month maybe. So when we broke up it hurt me far deeper than I expected, as he was one of the few people that actually knew me. To lose that felt like a rejection of all of me as a person. My family didn't know me, only my friends did. So to lose a friend felt like I was losing a part of myself. I still feel invisible if I'm alone. Haha. I really was a crying, annoying, desperate bee though, but he was also a callous bastard about it too. Sigh. I'm crazy because I didn't appreciate his negative comments about me, especially when he made them to a number of other women that he was interested in. I'm crazy because I stuck up for myself as he repeatedly told me I was worthless and no one would ever want me. I'm crazy because I wanted to get a restraining order against him after 7 months of him stalking and harassing myself and my family. Fast forward to 2 years later, and he is arrested for domestic abuse against his new girl while I'm engaged and pregnant with the love of my life's baby. BB crazy. Oh, she thinks I'm crazy because I won't talk to her at mutual friends parties. Basically I ghost her, pretend she's not even there. Then she comes to me with that fake high-pitched Nope, I'm not going in that fake place with you so we can pretend you never did me wrong. Even 5 years later I just won't. I just don't associate with that kind of person. I feed off the awkwardness. That freaking high-pitched I feel you, man. It's so fake. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.